What's up, guys? I have some bad news on the Subaru project. We did all the suspension on it, all the bushings were switched to urethane. We put beefier axles on it. We did all the maintenance on the engine. We did the flywheel, the stage 2 clutch. Took us about a good 3 weeks to get everything done on this. We test drove it. Everything was running awesome. We were all excited. Unfortunately, when my brother had taken it home, and honestly, literally less than 50 miles total of driving time after we completed it, it started to rain real heavy. And when my brother went to work on the way back home, he ran over a puddle. And the puddle was pretty deep, and pretty much what had happened was the cold air intake that we had pretty much worked like a vacuum, sucked up a lot of water, causing the engine to just stop. The whole car just stopped in its tracks. He gave me a call and said, hey, my car won't start. I went over a puddle and then it just stopped, and I'm trying to start it and it won't turn. And I had told him, just wait, you probably sucked in some water, just let it leak down a little bit before you try. He waited about a good hour or so. He was like a block away from home when this happened. The car started, and now we have this pretty gnarly rod knock. Go ahead and rev it up. So I guess that's pretty common in Subarus to have that knock, but we don't like it. Go ahead and shut it off. So what we decided to do, instead of just worrying about this motor, we were gonna get maybe just an STI motor. My brother wanted to do a brand new motor, like a long block, and then we just decided to go with the JDM motor. So what we wound up going with was just an EJ20, and this engine is out of a Forester, I believe, a JDM Forester. I'm not really sure exactly what year it came out of. It didn't come with the coil-on plugs on this one, so we're gonna have to change over a few things. I'm not gonna do anything. We're not worried too much about the insides. We can always use the spare motor. When we pull the motor out of this one, we could probably have the block built on it later on. But for now, we're just gonna do like a bolt-on build on it. So we ordered quite a few goodies for it. We got a bigger turbo. Got a bigger turbo for it. We got bigger fuel coming for it. Bigger intercooler, engine management. Pretty much everything that you can pretty much bolt onto it without going too crazy. And just plan on running safe boost, just safe numbers. We're not looking to become drag racers doing 10 seconds a quarter mile. We just want something fun, something we can use every day on the street. And then later on, once like I said, if we do wind up building this engine, then we can really turn it up from there. But right now, we're gonna remove the motor out of here, and then we're gonna start transferring some of the goodies that we have and installing it onto this motor, so we can get it ready to install it into the Subaru. We're not gonna bore you with the whole engine removal, because I'm sure you've seen that in other videos before. So I already took the liberty in stripping this one down, taking off the manifold. It was a complete motor. Stripped down, took the whole manifold, everything off, get it to here. Yeah, we don't want to use this manifold. We're going to use the manifold that this engine has. We also got the deletes for it, the little butterfly, I forgot what they're called, TVG or TGV deletes for it. Gonna clean up the bay quite a bit. Gonna not use a cold air intake anymore for sure after this. And once again, go through all the maintenance, changing timing belt, oil pump. We got some other little safety items like a new oil pickup system, and also a new windage tray that we're gonna try out. And that's about it. So we're gonna go ahead and get to work, and then we'll go ahead and update you after we got the motor out. All right, guys, we got the engine pulled out of the Subaru here. You can see it was a little It's a little complicated separating that pull type clutch that it has there, but we got it without damaging it. You can see everything's here. Well, the only real problem we had was taking the downpipe off of here. You can see all the shavings from when we actually had to get the Sawzall in here and cut the studs off because they just weren't giving. But that's cool. It doesn't matter because we got a brand new turbo. We got a whole new up pipe and everything that we're going to be installing onto it. We're going to reuse that clutch because, like I said, that clutch only has maybe at most 50 miles on it, so it's not even broken in yet. And it should be good enough for the power that we're expecting to pull out of this motor. So we're going to go ahead and get it down, and then we're going to start removing the manifold and all the other pieces for cleaning, painting, and transferring. And then we can go ahead and work on the fuel system route. And also, like I said, we had the TGV deletes for this, so we get rid of this. Our engine management system is going to be perfect for that, so we really don't need that anymore. And we got the no timing belt, oil pump, all that good stuff. Got some new gaskets coming. We only use the factory gaskets. You know, it's actually what I've noticed is from the difference between the auto parts store and the Subaru dealer, the price isn't really that much different. And me personally, I'd rather have the factory gaskets because they seem to hold up a lot better. We got the new manifold gaskets coming for it, also the new joint pipe gaskets coming as well, once again from Subaru. Valve cover gaskets from Subaru. Everything in turbo gaskets, everything Subaru. So yeah, so we're gonna get this thing down and we're gonna start tearing it apart. Okay, now that we have the motor out of the car and right here on the floor, we're gonna go ahead and start removing all the components that we're gonna need to use onto our new motor, such as the intake manifold, all the accessories. Right now, I'm gonna go ahead and remove the upper intake manifold, and also with the TGVs, which are right here. And the TGV is kind of like just these little butterfly valves that kind of supposed to help it, but I think they restrict it more than anything, so that's why we're gonna delete them. So that'll free up a lot of room for our new fuel system that we're gonna be running on it. So we're gonna go ahead and get that removed. We're gonna show you. Now the harness and everything is bolted underneath the intake manifold, so the fuel system and the entire harness is going to come up with it. That way we could remove the throttle body off of here, and we're going to paint it, clean it up, paint it, give it a nice new look. Go see if we can get this thing going up here. Put this straight up here. I think we're not out all the way on the bolts. A little bit more right there. Still hung up on something?
The turbo.
The turbo?
Yes.
No, this shouldn't be a part of it right here. Go and lift it up. I still feel these bolts grabbing. Yeah, this one right here. That one's still hooked. This one too. Make sure these are all free here. And this one's still hooked. bit like a thread in here, John. Go ahead and remove that one with the gun. The one on the inside right here. All right, those ones should be good. Okay, that side's off. Now let's see what's holding it up here. Go ahead and pull it up. I'll hold this down. Oh, I see. There's a little hose right there. You know what? Go ahead and get a 10 millimeter, and we'll just take it off with it. This should be a relatively quick project, maybe a week long or so. Doing it here in my driveway. Got my cluttered up garage right here right now, and this is for another project that we got going here. It's a 86 Mitsubishi Steryon, and we're doing some crazy motor stuff to it. So we'll stay tuned for that one. But for now, we gotta get this guy going here. Did you unbolt it?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's go ahead. Sorry, torn. Ooh. Okay. Just a little hose right here that's holding it. See any other vacuum lines? There you go. I think that's free. Ooh. All right. Then let's go ahead and undo these guys. Too is probably what's holding it. Okay. There's another line right here. Now I can reach the coolant sensor here. All right, and one more. Here we are. It's hard to do this with one hand. Yeah, I can do it with one hand. See here, hold that, take that over. All right, let's see what else is holding this up. All right. All right, there we go. Cool. Can't wait to clean this thing up, huh?
No.
All right, bud. Let's see what we got here. We have to go ahead and change over all this crossover pipe right here onto our JDM motor. And we're not going to bore you once again with the little details of taking everything off. So we'll be right back after we get a little bit further with this. All right, before we start getting into removing all the fuel lines and the harness from the upper intake manifold, just want to show you the TGVs here, the tumble generator valves. You can see that, you know, where the injector port is right here, and also this chunk of metal right there. And you can see the reduction in the intake runner here. Now we're going to be replacing it with these guys. You can see that it's a full port, and they actually give a little bit more in case you had your heads ported. You can have quite a bit more to go on that one. You see that the fuel injector is barely hanging on to the edge right there where they cut. It's very, very close, just to give it optimal volume that we can get out of it. So, and these will only work on the Subaru with proper tuning like Cobb or standalone computer. So luckily we're running a standalone computer, so we don't need this no more. So once again, we'll keep you updated. Okay, now moving on to putting on some of these awesome parts for our JDM motor here. The first thing we're going to start off with is upgrading our oil pickup tube. Subarus are known to actually crack And then once this cracks, start sucking in air and cavitate the oil pump here, and then you'll get that infamous Subaru knock. So, and like I said before, we don't like the knock. Maybe some Subaru owners do. We don't like it. So you can see here the welding is very tight on it, and also the gauge of the steel's pretty thin. So that's why with all the vibrations, probably prone to cracking. So we are actually upgrading our pickup tube and windage tray to a Killer Bee setup, which is the Killer Bee windage tray right here. It is actually a lot shorter, and this helps to reduce the oil from sloshing around onto the crank and everything, because the crankshaft is just right there, and all the pistons and everything is just right there. So they actually put a block right here in the back to kind of reduce that. So a very awesome piece. And also the redesigned and reinforced pickup tube. You can see instead of one mounting bracket or support bracket right here, they put two really beefy ones. You can see the two, hold this real quick. Let me get both of them here. See the difference in the size here. So the gauge is a lot bigger. You have a lot thicker weld right here. Got a different style of pickup on it. So that way if it is cornering, you know, it can still pick up oil from this side. You see how it has that little house roof style right there, rather than just the traditional bottom feeder here. So see, we set this here, it bolts in just fine. Factory, I mean, well, not factory positions, but factory mounting holes, and it's a very, very beautiful piece from Killer Bee. So we're gonna go ahead and install this. We can go ahead and put the new O-ring on it, zap that on down, and put some silicone on our pan. So that way our oil pickup upgrade will be complete. Okay, now we went ahead and bolted everything down, our windage tray and also our Killer Bee Motorsports pickup tube. So now we're gonna go ahead and seal off the oil pan here. Now Subaru doesn't use a gasket for the oil pan, so it has to be siliconed. My favorite type of silicone I like using on any engine, doesn't matter, is actually Honda Bond. This can be obviously purchased at a Honda dealer or for a little slightly cheaper, like on Amazon. It just seems to get tackier faster, and it holds for a lot longer. I've tried other silicone like Permatex, Ultra Gray. It works fine. It's just that just for the long run, it doesn't seem to hold up for forever, pretty much. This can do quite a bit of miles. Nissan dealer type silicone, I would say, in my opinion, is the worst silicone, and then followed by Toyota. So far, the Honda Bond is actually a lot better. So we're gonna go ahead and apply everything here, seal up the oil pan, lock it down, and then move on to the replacing the valve cover gaskets right here. So we can swap our manifold, put our new manifold gaskets, flip it over, and knock out the timing belt. So let me go ahead and take care of that. Okay, we got the oil pan all sealed up and all set to go. Now we're moving down to the valve cover gaskets. Whenever we replace the valve cover gaskets, we want to make sure that we remove these little half moon seals that go right here and right here. Usually what I've seen at auto parts stores is whenever you buy the gasket set, it does not ever or rarely ever comes with these for any engine. Most engines do have these on the back, and with the heat, the rubber becomes really hard, and it won't seal up against here, and then the oil will start pouring out the back. And then on some engines, maybe not this one in particular, but on some engines it could be a nightmare to replace these when they're inside the engine bay. So we're just going to go ahead and replace everything. Like I said, I don't remember the exact cost of the valve cover gasket, because it does not come in a set when you purchase from dealers. They come piece for piece. So we have the main gasket, and then we got the two half moons, and then also the grommets that actually go in the bolts that secure the valve cover to the head. And then also these as well, the spark plug gaskets, spark plug well gaskets here. So we're going to go ahead and install that, and we're going to go ahead and apply a little bit of Honda Bond here and up and over to this side. That's how they do it at the factory, so we're going to go ahead and follow that as well. That's just to prevent oil from sneaking underneath the gaskets and leaking out the front through the cap. So let me go ahead and take care of that, and we'll move on to the next thing. Okay, moving forward. Okay, we got the valve cover gaskets on, and we got the silicone in place where silicone should only be. Now we're moving on to the timing belt. Like I said before, this engine came out of a JDM Forester. We're not sure exactly what year, but it's anywhere in between the year of 2000 to, I believe, 2004. The ignition system was a little bit different on it. It had the coil pack with the 4 leads rather than the coil on plug like our O2 WRX. So for us to make this work with our car, we need to swap over the intake cam, the left side intake cam sprocket, and also the crankshaft sprocket, just for the pickups. The pickups are a little bit different on these, so we're going to go ahead and do that. And also we're going to be replacing our oil pump with an ACL performance oil pump. So these ones we had on our previous motor did pretty well. Does slightly increase the amount of oil going through the engine. And also we're going to be using a Gates performance timing belt kit, which comes with a reinforced timing belt, also a new water pump, all the idler pulleys, tensioner pulley, and also, yeah, so everything we're gonna need, all brand new. So let's go ahead and get on that. Okay, our new ACL performance oil pump is installed. They came with brand new bolts for it, so I love that, just in case you lose one or drop it into the oil bucket there. It also came with the new crank seal, and we already installed our Gates water pump right here. It also comes with the factory style gasket. So the original gasket is made of like a stainless steel. This one also is a stainless steel, unlike other aftermarket water pumps that come with kind of like that felt, I don't know what material you call it, but it's the kind that always sticks to the block and you have to scrape the crap out of it to get it off. This one comes with the factory style, which is awesome. So now what we're gonna do is go to our old motor and remove our pulley, and I guess we're gonna replace the back plastic here because it is cracked, so the other one's still in good condition. So let's go ahead and get on that. Okay, back with you. We're gonna have to stop here for tonight. We had a little problem. This crank sprocket right here is from the WRX, the O2 WRX. When we were removing it, we're having a tough time pulling it. I don't have a special puller or anything for it. Usually we try to gently pry behind it, and it normally slides right off. When we were prying, and probably should have pried from here, when we were prying around it, we took a tooth out right there. Yeah, so we're gonna have to go ahead and pick up another one of these. No worries. But I'd like to take the time right now to show you the differences between the WRX's crank sprocket and the Forester's crank sprocket. Okay, as you can obviously see, there are many teeth around the sprocket for the crank positioning sensor. And on the other ignition system that the Forester uses, or our engine came out of, it only uses the 6 teeth for the pickup. The spline count is the same between the two, and also their timing marks are in the same position, so they do interchange. But it's very important that when using a motor with this type of ignition system to our type of ignition system, that this gets switched over. We haven't gotten the cam sprocket off yet. It is being a pain right now. It's soaking in penetrating oil. So we'll let that sit for a little while, at least until we get this new part. We're going to see if the dealer has one in stock. If it's a ridiculous amount amount of money, then we'll just get a used one online. So I guess this is good night for now, and we will be continuing again soon on the WRX build.